Hi there, we're on a Sunday afternoon. Sun shining in Weybridge in Cornwall. It's absolutely glorious out there, sunshiny. It was a bit chilly, but so bright and lovely. And when it's like that, I feel so happy. Yeah, bright sunshine. It's always good for us, I'm sure. Always good for us. Right now, I've been doing lots of thinking and lots of whatever and rummaging and things and thinking, what are we going to do for the next quilt? Several suggestions around the place, several ideas that I had. And I did mention the other day something. I saw this, a couple of 3 years ago, if not more, something called an ugly quilt. Now, personally, I like the idea, but the word ugly is pretty strong, I feel. Because in my world, there's no real ugly fabric. All fabric is gorgeous. Might not be to my taste, but all fabric is lovely. So I gone along this thought as I was explaining the other day, as I'm thinking, well, what have I got that maybe I don't like as much or don't love as much as the rest of it. Got to remember where I'm a colourist, for want of a better expression, but that's apparently what I am. I look at everything and love everything in colour. So it's very difficult for me to turn around and say something that's really, oh my, I don't like that. Because I can find something in all of it. So this morning, I did have a nose yesterday, but I wasn't successful in finding some fabrics to play with. This morning I went into my major stash in the house. It's big. It's very big. So I just looked in one tub. I didn't look in all the rest of them that makes a great big wall on one side of the bedroom. And I've pulled out 9 fabrics, because I did have a little bit of a plan, but I don't know if I'm going to do that now. But I have pulled out 9 fabrics that, for whatever reason, I will never use again. And they're probably things that I've had for maybe a cot quilt or a present for somebody in particular, or a bag, and bits that have been left, because I'm one of these ones that have the opinion I never buy a fat quarter, I only ever buy a metre, because I'm guaranteed by the time I get to use it, I've not got enough fabric. So hence my scrappy stash is humongous. Right, so what I have pulled out, I'm going to show you. So my criteria was anything I'm never going to use again, preferably things that do not go together, or that were not bought specifically to go together. So not from the same range, tonal range of fabric, or designed in that manner. So things that need using up, just for a bit of fun, because I want to see, can we make something that's actually quite nice from something really weird and obscure. I'm thinking for yourselves who've probably got some fabrics that maybe you don't love for whatever reason, and I'm going to avoid this word ugly, because that implies something very unpleasant, and we're aiming to make something very lovely no matter what. And someone at some point will have loved that fabric, if it was only the designer. But somebody loved it, or else it wouldn't have been in existence, would it? So I think ugly is a wrong word on this occasion. So we're going to go for obscure. And anything you can find in your stash that you know you're not going to use again, that maybe you were given, maybe you had left over from a project from years ago like me, maybe something, like I said last week, that you've maybe ordered online and it's not turned up in the manner that you would like it to have been for the use it was intended. I'm being very careful here, you can tell, I don't want to insult anybody, because I feel all fabric has a place somewhere. So what I've done is I've pulled out 9 fabrics that I think, some of them are actually really in your face and not what you would associate with me at all. And one big piece of fabric that I'm going to put within all of the blocks, and I can use this on the back because it is a huge piece of fabric. I don't know if you can see that. So that's black oriental-y type whatever. We've got, Concord Fabrics. Does it say a year? We've not got a year on there, because that's sometimes quite interesting what you find on the edge of fabrics. But anyway, so that's got a little gold going on that. It's a bit posh. It's been washed. Now I think this was one of my purchases here in Weybridge many years ago now. Very, very unfortunate in that our fabric shop Artie Crafts had a major fire. I was trying to work out earlier how long ago. It's got to be at least 15 years ago, if not more, I believe, thereabouts. I worked there in the end. Once it was rebuilt and re-going, that's where I worked for 8 years, thereabouts, something like that, teaching and doing all sorts of lovely stuff in that shop. But anyway, they've retired now, the owners, so that's how come I do what I do now. But this piece here is so, it's a real big piece. It would have been one of my spontaneous things after the fire, where things were reduced because of smoke damage. So it's been washed and stashed, because in my mind I probably thought, oh, we'll have some of that, that'll do a good backing, and I've never used it. So that is now going to be in all my little blocks, or within the quilt anyway, and on the back. So that's that. Now what else have I got here? I don't know if you can see this, look, he's got little frogs all over it. Now I'm pretty sure that was a Hoffman, and it's called Giggles. That's a good name, I like that. It's called Giggles. That will have been for a child's quilt somewhere along the way that I made. So that's our first. If I put that here, you can, there we go, you can see that. So we've got that and that. Now this is just odds and sods of something that I've made. I have no idea when, and it's pansies and flowers basically. Not what you would normally put together. That was my criteria. There's a fat quarter there that has obviously been, I have no idea. This is not necessarily a colour range that I would pick up. It's got a tiny little black something on it. There's a tiny bit the same colour in the black, so it might work even actually. Oh look, another fat quarter. Checks. Now I've put that in on purpose just because it is plaid or checks or whatever you want to call it. And again, it's not my normal colourway, but you know what, that's okay. See, so there we are. This next one I love, but it's very inappropriate. So hence I'm putting it in. It's camels. Can you see? I have a thing about camels. I love camels. So when I saw this, I'm obviously either I purchased it or someone purchased it for me, because it's got camels all over it. I do love camels, and it just so happens it's sort of ish the colours, but that's more by luck than judgment. But I just thought camels was good, so we got camels in there. Look at this. Now I remember getting this fabric. Oh gosh, David Textiles, whoever they are. Look at it. I had that many, many years ago from America. Vast quantities of it. I did all sorts of things with that because it was just so bright and happy. So that's going in the mix. This one, I have no idea. I'm looking at it and thinking, I have no idea. That's not something that I would have normally picked up. Spring Industries, whoever they are. Tribal Elements it's called. Very tribal looking, but again it's colours and designs that aren't within any of this lot already. Okay, so that's in there. Oh, now I just love this one. As I say, all of my fabrics I love, so they all bring something to the party, as it were. So who's this? Westminster Fibres. This is another old one. Anna Maria Hornet. For, can't read that. Look, I've obviously had specific circles. I've been fussy cutting for something. So there's some flowers that's just, again, one that I doubt I'll get round to using, and it just doesn't really sit with any of them as such, so hence. And now this one as well. Now I have absolutely no idea, because this really isn't me. I would imagine I was probably backing a baby quilt or something, because there's a lot of it, and it's white with pale pink dots on. Seriously, not me. But I thought, do you know what, we're going to chuck that one in and see what happens. Now this one actually might be the saving grace of the whole bundle, believe it or not. Because when you're talking colour, you don't want everything dark always. You don't, you know, you need different tones and lights. So you hear a lot of people referring to, oh, light, medium, dark. Got to have this as a you know, you need 2 light, 2 medium, 2 dark, or it's not going to work. Well, do you know what? Anything will work if you like fabrics. And that's a little bit what this is about, really. So we've just literally, or I've just literally chucked in all sorts there that I just wouldn't normally use or put together, or it's been left over. I have absolutely no idea what it's going to look like, but we're going to have a little go. But as I was saying, I think this is the saving grace, because actually looking at it, this one, not quite, this one nearly goes with all of them. So this one might land up featuring quite a bit, and it is a pale one. Majority of those are what I would class as medium, if you want to go down that route. And I've got what I think is as even too dark, and everything else sort of medium or in your face or whatever. I feel some fussy cutting might have to come into place somewhere along the way, because we've got several different things that will blend its way to that. Fussy cutting, for those of you that are not aware of this name, what the hell does that mean? It's when we're looking at a piece of fabric and think, oh, that's gorgeous, lovely, 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 but I want that camel there in the middle. And so I will quite happily cut a hole in the middle of my fabric to get that camel, and that camel at the angle that I want that camel. Yeah, because we're like that. So we've fussy cut. We've decided that's the bit I want, and I've been fussy about how I've cut it, where I've cut it, that sort of thing. And so that's the name that we generally give to spotting nice pieces and using. Yeah, so that would lend its way to that. That one might. Me frogs most definitely will. So we're gonna have frogs and camels. Okay, that's cool. Pansies, and that, obviously I did this previously with the holes. I've aimed them wherever those nice flowery things were. So do you know, for the life of me, I can't remember what I made with that, but I obviously got well carried away with the holes. And it looks very me, doesn't it, being very bright. So there we go. So that is my strange selection of fabric for the start of this next quilt, Witter Quilt 7. Now I reckon, because I want to get this sort of mixed up just to see what the hell happens, I'm going to make things a little bit smaller this time with everybody. So actually you could do a lot or just a few of each block that we're going to make. Now they might be 5-inch blocks, or they could be probably 6-inch. Where's me doofer? There's me doofer. I reckon, oh, yeah, we could be 5-inch. We could be 5-inch, because then we can get lots of little blocks, or it could be 6, I don't know. I'm going to have a play, and I will come back to you at the next video and let you know. But I think just small blocks, traditional, possibly, or I don't know. We would do lots of different little ones. How's that? And just because I've pulled out 9 fabrics, you could pull out 3. You could pull out 23. It doesn't matter. And because we work small this time, you can use little tiddly bits up. Maybe it's just a case of, let's go through and see what other scrap we've got that's going to look really clashy with it. So everything really clashy. It's going to be interesting, if nothing else. So any thoughts, anything you want to do? I'm going to do piecing. I might land up doing some applique, but piecing, which for those of you, what's that? Literally where we cut fabric and put it together. We're going to do some piecing, old-fashioned piecing proper, because I like the idea of that. And we're going to have lots of different types of blocks, but we'll have several of each little block, because then we can build it up as big or as little as you want, can't we? We could even actually, if we're going to do small squares, you could have a whole square as just one fabric, just a square of, which actually could work quite nicely for lifting the patterns and the designs and showing things off. Quite often I think it's nice to see within a quilt a larger area of one of the fabrics, if only to break everything up, because sometimes if you're not careful, especially with scrappy type stuff as we're doing, you put everything together and it all gets just a little bit too much in your face. So yes, some of the plainer ones will help break that up and make it more acceptable to the eye, because some of these are, I seriously think that this one is going to save the day with a lot of these. It's going to be fun, whatever. So there we are. If you wish to join me, the next video on will be Witter Quilt 7. Let's call them pre-loved. That would be a good thing. A pre-loved design, pre-loved quilt. Because somebody somewhere's loved it, even if we don't. Yeah. And if you're thinking, oh God, I don't want to do that, it's all boring, all the rest of it, I've got no reason to do it. Think of it on several levels. Bit of fun, time consuming, and a bit of creativity, which we all benefit from, don't we, when we're producing something and absorbed. And if you don't want it when you've finished it and you think, oh yeah, that's the biggest ever, because actually that could well happen, I feel. Do you know what? Somebody somewhere's going to love it, and maybe give it to something like Project Linus or Quilts for Care Leavers, something like that, because actually they should be a bit of fun, shouldn't they? They're all going to be a little bit odd. It also smacks, I think, of many years ago when quilting first started, and people had to use what was available to them. And many years ago there weren't many fabrics available to them, and they would have used whatever they had, or whatever size or shape they had, and they would have crammed it all in there to make an item. We are so spoiled these days. Everything behind me, above me, all of the, you know, none of this was available to them as such. So yeah, it's got lots of elements of tradition, I think, and a bit of fun, and I think a bit of creativity, as I say, is good for all of us. And we're going to have a little giggle along the way. And if we make up a few patterns as we go that we like, well, then you could make them into another quilt again with something else, perhaps. But let's just try and use up some of these fabrics that have been destined and hidden in corners and things. Yeah, I think it's quite exciting, but that's me. And as we all know, I'm not your normal sort of person. You never know, you might find that exciting. But I think it'd be a bit of fun. You could do it small, you could do it large, you could make cushions, you could make quilts. Let's just play around and see what happens. So small squares of patchwork, like this. What else is there left to say? Oh, thank you for following me this far. I can't believe how long and how much we've done since March. You think I started these videos the first day of lockdown, and I did them every single day for weeks, and then as things started to lift, we went to sort of 3 or 4 days a week, and now we're down to 2 days a week, because obviously I'm busier. But that's fine. I just can't believe we've been going this long. Thank you, those that are following. I mentioned the other day, please share. Someone must have shared something somewhere, because I had a few more followers, and that's so kind of you. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I would appreciate, again, just keep sharing, you know, let's have a bit of fun. We've got a new project going on. I think this will tickle along now over Christmas, New Year. Excuse me. I know, I'm thinking sort of maybe 9 different blocks, different design blocks. I'm wobbling on the camera, I can see. I've just knocked the table and it's all doing this. So hello buddy, wobble wobble. Never mind. Technically challenged, you know. Yeah, so thank you for sharing. So please share to anyone you know that you think might enjoy a bit of a giggle here. if only, as I say, to give the resulting quilt top or quilt away to a charity or to a child or someone that might actually enjoy it. Who knows? Yeah, so share it, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of it. If you are following, I would appreciate a like, because then that helps my business and helps everybody know that what we're about and what we're doing. I'm all for doing loads of free, as you know, but I also like to do a little bit that I'm paid for. That's always good. So thank you very much. Right, okay, so Sunday afternoon, storming on for Christmas, and I'm very aware that maybe a lot of you won't want to be doing this now until after Christmas. So this is what I say, it's a simplish one we're doing as well, so that actually you could play catch up if you wanted to play catch up, or you could just come and say hello and have a bit of a giggle as I'm making an idiot of myself each time, which I know that there's several out there doing. I can't help it, it's what I'm good at. I'm going to say the 3 normal things: bit of exercise, bit tidying, and hello to all your mates. Do make sure hello to all your mates, because I went to say hello to one of my mates all this week. I've been trying several times this week and couldn't get her one way and another, and I couldn't get response and all the rest of it, and I was getting quite worried. Finally spoke to somebody yesterday, and to find out that she's actually in hospital. So now she's getting bombarded with text messages from me. Whether or not she'll reply is another matter. Well, I did have one this morning, which was nice. So I just now will be doing sillies on a different level. Had I been in touch a bit more, I would have found out quicker. But there we are. Okay, so please learn from mine. In touch with your friends. Make sure everybody's all right. Okay, so that's me. Be lovely.